What's going on today, guys? Have a knife review. I know it's been a while, but my reviews are unlike most people's reviews. This will be a Spelunking review. I'll get the overview out of the way up front within the first few minutes, and then we will dive really deep. We will take the knife apart. We will look at the internals, and we will see what makes this knife work. So this is the Vosteed Nightshade. I appreciate them sending this out for review. I just feel like you guys should know that. They did send it out. You get this package. It's nice. I'm just not a big package person, so it doesn't really matter to me. But when it's done nice, it's a tin with a little pouch. You got your cards in here. Here's you some specs on this knife. So all this out of the way, great packaging, really impressive for the $69 price point. If you guys do choose to buy this, they gave us a code. So for $5 off, you could go in the code section, Randy5. I'll put all that stuff in the description. $69, that would take $5 off. And then if you want to do their pry bar and Nightshade, they have a Randy 20. That would take $20 off, as I understand. All right, so let's get into the review. What is this? This is a kukri style knife where it has a negative blade angle. If you don't know, a neutral blade angle would be something that's like a stick. Positive blade angle would be a up, and negative blade angle is down. That has a lot of benefits. We will get into that with the deep dive. But first of all, I just kind of wanted to show you around this knife and see what it is. If you guys missed it, it's 154 cm blade steel. Obviously a flat ground blade that does have a rounded spine. A lot of attention to detail on this knife. They sent me the knife, but they didn't pay me to do the review or anything like that. They wanted an honest review, and they were very confident in their product, and I can see why. I'm trying to show you. Even the edges of the liner in here are softened. All the way around, do you see that? Sometimes knives, especially more budget-friendly knives, are a little sharp in there. This is not. You can see even around the flipper tab has been softened. You can see inside the sharpening notch has also been softened. Just great attention to detail. While we're here, we can look at this pivot collar. So this is a contoured, slightly contoured, gray G10 with a white pivot collar, and then that is a specialty pivot. We're gonna find out if anything extra is going on with this pivot. I believe it's just a regular pivot with a decorative sleeve around it or collar. I think it's hard to argue though with how well they executed this knife. I always like these knife designs. You could get into it. I like negative blade angle in my EDC knives. This is extreme negative blade angle, but it puts the pressure of the blade like a lever right there on the tip. So any kind of pulling, slicing, the knife is already at the correct angle to slice through your cardboard or whatever you're gonna do. They also recommended on their website light food prep. I can totally see that with this big leaf shaped flat ground blade. That is the kukri blade shape, putting it down. You know, you ever see those big chopping knives that have it almost bent like that? It puts a lot of pressure right there because your hand, you know, because it's not straight like a stick. It's bent quite a bit. It's hard for me to describe it. I'm sure there's like a simpler way, but there it is. Great blade shape. The only cons I'm sure there are some more cons, but if you do a lot of like stabby stuff, you do have to bend your wrist at a different angle than you're used to. But after carrying it for a week or two straight, I think I've been carrying it 2 weeks straight, that didn't affect me at all. You still have a nice pointy tip on there. This is still the factory edge, so we'll show you how consistent that is. Pretty consistent, it was pretty sharp. After about a week of cutting with this 154 cm, it's time for me to touch it up. So a lot of you might be asking, is this on bearings? It is. This is ceramic caged bearings with a steel liner lock. Look how well the engagement is. If you're wondering how the internals work, we will see them later, but you can see inside here, looking for my pointer again. Here it went. You can see this is an internal stop pin. So there's a stop pin in this blade, and it rides on both sides of the tracks here. We will get a better look at that when we take it apart. See that stop pin right there? Then it'll engages the lock bar. While we're on the lock bar, stainless steel. Look at the disengagement here, how they did it. Nicely softened. And then for me, this is not really for grip. This is more for indexing. So you can feel when you're on the liner lock where you're supposed to push it over. Has a cutout in the front scale there. That's nice and contoured to get your lock release. It's a good shape. Fits your thumb just in a natural when you're gonna unlock it. Blade nice and centered, no blade play. Just really well done. They did do the lightning holes on the inside of the liners. You can see them inside there. Bringing this knife to 3.6 ounces is what my scale said. So you can see the liner lock. You can see all my pocket lint in there. I've been carrying it and using it. And then you can see the recess of the liner. We'll get a better look again when we take it apart. But that's the lock recess. And then they kept it full thickness through here. Just a little attention to detail. I don't know if it's a plus or a minus, just something to notice. Flow through construction. So, I mean, most knives are these days. No big backspacer. You have two barreled backspacers there. And I wonder when we get into it, I think they're both threaded, but I wonder if they're also like collared. If this barrel fits into this stainless steel liner here. Has a titanium lowrider clip. No complaints. I was carrying it all week, or the past 2 weeks, with slacks and jeans and whatnot. There's enough of a ramp here to get over all the pants that I needed. If you're wearing something super thick, like maybe some Carhartt, you know, like Kevlar style, thicker canvas pants, you might need to bend that just a little more to get a little more of a ramp on what you need. Sometimes knives get too ramped and then they dig when they're in your pocket. They might like rub car doors and such like that. So you gotta find a balance on that. I don't have any complaints. Fit and finish, really nice. It's only right hand tip up only. Lefties, you're just gonna have to probably adapt like you probably already have. Personally, I know it doesn't sound right, but I like that this show side here is just a nice show side. There's no left hand holes and stuff here. And I know that sounds like, I just wish that knife makers would make left hand versions and right hand versions, but we all know that's probably not practical. But it would stink to be lefty. Just so happens I'm a righty in most of the world, but I feel for you lefties. But I just think that not having those holes over here really give this knife a very clean look. I like how Vosteed did not billboard up the blade. So they have their model, their name, their model number there, the blade steel, and then just their little logo right there. Very tasteful. Great stone wash on the blade. You can see where I've tried to clean it up, but there's still some smears and whatnot on there. They're saying the hardness is around 60 plus or minus 2 points. So about what you'd expect from 154 cm. I know it's not the latest and greatest super steel, but I promise you it is a great working steel. Most of you guys know that. It's easy to sharpen, holds an edge for, you know, I don't know if you'd want to go open concrete bags all day long every day, or, you know, do something where you're cutting cardboard all day every day. But can it handle all your EDC tasks? It did for me. So I like 154 cm. It's just a classic for a reason. Easy to sharpen, has a nice finer grain to the steel, so it strops up really sharp. Just no complaints on that. Yeah, your overall, I don't know if you guys seen that card. Overall is 7.48 inches. So roughly about 7.5 inches. Blade length is 3.25 inches. So you got 3.25 inches on your blade length. Really nice. Feels good in the hand. Feels good in all the grips that I use. When you hold it like this, the way the negative blade angle kicks it up, it is really comfortable if you're cutting cardboard or paracord or anything like that. The sharpening notch is well done. There's no weirdness that happens here. See, the blade is nice and thin, that flat ground blade. I think it's just a great value for 69 bucks. And then look at this pivot here. You don't really see that. It's like a very fancy little pivot. So I'm interested in a few things. I haven't had this knife apart. We're gonna learn together. Let's do some spelunking, take it down, and show you guys that. Let me just gray lock up. As a general idea, I like my liner locks to engage fully on the tang, but not be slid over more than they need to be. This gives it room over the life of the knife, 10, 15, however many years from now. It has room to lock up tighter should any blade play start to occur in that stop pin. You'll see what I mean when we take it down. But I like it, that engagement right there. Then you have the ceramic bearings. Nice crisp detent. See if we get the pinky flip in the camera. All right, I'm goofing around. Let's take this thing down. So what it has is T6 for the rear and the clip. I don't think we need to take the clip off. Oh, while we're talking about that, you can see the clip is sat flush in the G10 handle there. So when it slides up your pocket, it's not catching on that bottom part of the clip, and it has flush screws in there. Again, just a smart design. It's how it should be done, and it is, so well done. Let's take it down. I like cracking the knives like this. We will take the T6. Loosen up these back. Again, I call this a spelunking review because we're going down deep. We're diving real deep into the crevices. We are exploring and finding out together because I hadn't taken this knife apart yet. So let's get a look at it. Let's see what's going on in there. And I'll show you some of these parts. I'm interested if this pivot is also a captured pivot. Okay. Oh, it is trying to come off. Okay, so don't laugh, guys, but I've been using this little piece of scrap G10 that I was goofing around with for years to do this. I've got it tapered where it just fits into the rear of the knife. So there it is, just as we described. You've got your track that it rides on. The blade comes around and hits that. Trying to make sure these caged bearings don't come off. And you see that track just rides around on there and stops right there. Then the lock bar locks that up. So the pivot is a captured pivot. What does that mean? There's a flat side to the pivot, like a D shape. So it doesn't, or shouldn't, loosen up on you when we're playing it and flipping it over and over again. What a nice pivot though. I mean, really. So there it is, guys. I don't think we need to put it back together. This is already a 20-minute review. We could within a few seconds. That was my my bar stool squeaking here. So just as I was hoping, the barrels do come through to index or keep that sandwiched design stable. So what that does is this blade, let's pretend there's a pivot through here, right? If this pivot for some reason ever wanted to wiggle to have blade rock side to side, it puts pressure on these side scales to go up and down like this, because this is a through pivot, correct? So when these are stepped like that, that prevents that shear force that's going up and down like this. So you barely have any pressure on these screw heads to hold this together, yet the knife is still super stable with only 3 points of, you know, retention, 3 points of being screwed together, whatever you want to say there. So easy enough. I mean, it's a great knife. Let's put it back together. Let's see how fast let's speed run this getting back together here. We know we want the good decorative side up top. So let's put that in there. This will go in here. Again, with both of the bearings down. I always crack them, the blade down about halfway. Might as well clean it up while we're in here. You can see the milling I was talking about there. And let's just put it back together. The tricky part could be, nope, the D's on the other side. Oh, wow. Some knives are harder to put together because that captured liner, the D flat part, is on this side if they only do it on one side, but this is a round. So if it's already registered here as the D, the flat side is going back, we already know that's in there. So now it's just literally plopping that on. And just to see if I can prove my point here, I don't think there should be much futzing around with a blade centering. So how I'm going to do this, you run the pivot. It's hard to do this through the camera and talk about it, and I don't really write a script for my reviews, if you could tell. I usually go like finger tight, where you can tell it's starting to engage, and then I'll put the back ones in. So what do you guys think about this knife? This is the Vosteed Nightshade. I see they've made a few knives, but they haven't really made many folders. I think they're gonna be a company to look out for. because I really like this design. Again, I'm not shilling for them. I get a lot of offers to look at a lot of knives and do the reviews, and a lot I've passed on. You know, some I'll take up on, but I seen this design. I was like, oh man, that really looks like, I'm not even tightened yet. Look at that, blade's already centered up there. So let's make sure we got this tight to about where I think it should be. I don't tighten the blade with it all the way open and in lock position, because it's putting pressure on this side of the blade to try to kick it this way, so it could off center your blade. I like to do it like this, and then I'll squeeze it together a little bit, and then I'll just turn it. Again, because it's captured on this top side here, there's no pivot spinning around. They don't have to have the T8 on this side. It can be a decorative side. It's just the right way to do things. Look at that. Again, and sometimes when you're at this stage, you might want to mess with the pivot a little tighter, looser. That's all up to you, personal preference. Some people don't want a knife that could shake close. This blade is so light that it's not like a finger chopper or anything like that. But there it is. If you guys are interested in buying the knife, I will put the link below. And for $5 off, please use that code Randy5. And then if you wanted to get the knife, and there's a pry bar too, they'll take 20 off, and that code is Randy20. So that's about it. We got a 154 cm blade. You got a lot of negative blade angle. It really puts a lot of pressure just naturally right on this portion of the knife. And any of your slicing tasks kind of naturally fall right here. So it's a great design. I honestly, I've done the review, I've carried it, I've used it. I'm gonna keep carrying it and using it, and let you guys know maybe how a long term goes. But I know from my experience with the Spyderco Kukri folder by Ed Shemp, I love that one too. I only sold it because they were really high on the secondary at the time, and I think they still are, but those have been long discontinued. I also had a few of the Spyderco Lums that kind of had this blade, not quite the negative angle, if I remember right. I think this feels a little better in the hand, just to be honest, you know. Just a great design. They just knocked it out of the park, and I really like it. So let me know what you guys think. I do have more videos on the way. I know it's been a long absence, but it's fun getting back into it. I always have a great time doing the videos, so I appreciate seeing everybody's comments and just being involved. Just wiping this blade off so it doesn't look so fingerprinty. Again, one more close-up look at that stone wash. There it is, guys. I really do appreciate you. I just don't know where else you get a pivot collar, that pivot, a rounded spine, great jimping, very tastefully done for under $70. Crazy. All right, guys. See ya.